Okay, next groups. Group H. We have Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, Spain, and Uruguay. Now, Cape Verde, I do have a shirt in now in my drawer. Not in my wardrobe. It broke. Cape Verde. This is their first appearance in the World Cup. So let's go through them. They beat their group of Eswatini, Mauritius, Angola, Libya, and also Cameroon, shocking the world because everyone thought Cameroon would have gone through. However, they didn't. So they had to go through the second round, which they were then knocked out by DR Congo in the semis. Cape Verde has made it to 4 different AFCONs, reaching the quarters twice. And that's all I wrote about them because I'm an idiot. God damn it. I'm going to just give me a second. Okay. Cape Verde became independent from Portugal in 1975. Their first international game was a 1-0 defeat against Guinea in 1978. Apparently in a tournament with Guinea-Bissau. Cheers Wikipedia. The actual Cape Verde Football Federation was formed in 1982 and joined FIFA in 1986. In the 2nd of November 2002, Cape Verde played their first non-African team in a goalless friendly against Luxembourg. Their biggest win was a 7-1 victory against Sao Tome and Principe back in June of 2015, as well as a 6-0 victory over Liechtenstein in March of 2022. However, their biggest defeats were against Senegal, in a 5-1 defeat against Senegal in 1981, a 4-0 defeat against Ghana in 2005, a 4-0 defeat against Guinea in 2007, a 4-0 defeat against Burkina Faso in 2017, and a 5-1 defeat against Algeria in 2023. So yeah, that's Cape Verde. Next one, Saudi Arabia. Now I just remembered why they all feel a bit disjointed and not just by their pots. Obviously, I've done them in the case of alphabetical wise. I've just realized that. Next one, Saudi Arabia. They had from 1994 they had made it to 6 other World Cups, with their best performance being in 1994 where they reached the round of 16. However, they lost to Sweden. Saudi Arabia came in third in their third round Asian qualifiers, so they had to go to the fourth round where they won 3-2 against Indonesia and Iraq only winning 1-0 against Indonesia. Okay. They won 3-2 against Indonesia, then a 0-0 draw against Iraq, which would send Iraq to the fifth round of the playoffs. They would draw against Iraq 0-0. They won 3-2 against Indonesia, and with Iraq only winning 1. All right, no, I just can't read. Even with Iraq only winning 1-0 against Indonesia, a draw would be fine. Saudi Arabia did get a draw against Iraq and 0-0, which will bring them to the World Cup from the fourth round. There we go. In the last World Cup, they went on and beat the eventual winners, Argentina, in their first group game, sending the entire country into a frenzy. However, they would lose to Morocco. They would lose to Mexico and Poland, knocking them out in the groups. Spain, they are the current European champions, beating England in Germany 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure the stream is still up or something on the Sandstorm Prime channel. I think. I don't know. I may have taken it down. I can't remember. They have made it to 16 other World Cups. When did it start? I don't know. I didn't write that down, but you know what? I'm not researching that back up. I'm pretty sure it was probably after World War II. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. God damn it! This one is 6 minutes, and I'm in Spain. Spain. I'm in Spain without the S.
Well, we're waiting.
Spain. The first appearance was in 1934, which they reached the quarterfinals. So yeah. Apparently, they did have they reject that Spain was either rejected by Spain was rejected by FIFA from the 1938 due to the Spanish Civil War. So there's something. From 1978, they have been in the World Cup ever since. So yeah. Anyway, they've won it once back in 2010 in a 1-0 victory over the Netherlands in a very tough game. To qualify in their group, they had to beat Georgia, Turkey, and Bulgaria, and only one draw against Turkey. The rest were wins. In their last World Cup in 2022, they managed to scrape through to the round of 16 after losing to Japan in their last game. But they would lose to Morocco in the penalty shootout, which became their third consecutive elimination in a major tournament via penalties. Then the Euros came along. And finally, Uruguay. They have made it to 14 other World Cups, hosting the first one back in 1930. They've won it twice back in 1930 and 1950. They qualified for this World Cup by reaching 4th in CONMEBOL South American qualifiers with 28 points and 3 more goals over Brazil. In their last World Cup, they drew to South Korea, lost to Portugal, and although beating a very heated Ghana side, because Ghana and Uruguay weren't not the most friendliness with football, but since Uruguay knocked Ghana out in the quarters in 2010, thanks to Luis Suarez, which really, really annoyed them. Ghana didn't win against Uruguay, but they were grouped. Uruguay got grouped, so looks like Ghana had the last laugh at that one. Anyway, enough of that. Let's have a look at the playoff. The fixtures. Right, the fixtures. Spain versus Cape Verde, which is on Monday, 15th of June at 5 o'clock my time. Spain versus Cape Verde. Spain, they don't have a prolific, I think that's the word, how you say it anyway, prolific? They don't have a very sturdy goal scorer. They have Lamine Yamal. They are a favourite to win it. I think Spain will win 4-0. 4-0 against Cape Verde. Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. I didn't even look at I keep forgetting to do this. So, because this game wasn't actually that tough for me to make a decision what it would be, I didn't look at it. But whatever, I'll look at it now. Spain have won 2 of the last 5 games, drawing the other 3. They beat Peru, they drew to Iraq, they drew to Egypt, they beat Serbia, and they drew 2-2 against Turkey. Cape Verde have won 3-0 against Serbia, drew against Finland 1-1, lost 4-2 against Chile, drew 1-1 against Egypt, drew 0-0 against Iran. So yeah, Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay, a game that takes place on Monday again, and that's at 11. Okay, Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. That takes place at 11 o'clock on Monday night. Saudi Arabia have won one of their last 5 games against Puerto Rico, but lost 2-1 against Ecuador, 2-1 against Serbia, 4-0 against Egypt, 0-0 against the UAE. Uruguay drew 0-0 against Algeria, 1-1 against England, 5-1 against the US, 0-0 against Mexico, and 2-0 against Uzbekistan. I think this will go to a 1-1. I think these two teams are not as strong as I don't think Uruguay is as strong as they should be. And I don't think Saudi Arabia are there yet. Next one, Spain versus Saudi Arabia. 2-0. I'll say. Uruguay versus Cape Verde. Cape Verde win 2-0. That's my prediction there. Cape Verde win 2-0 against Uruguay. By the way, I made the new update came for the new EAFC 26 with the World's Game, not the World Cup, the World's Game. They don't have rights for that name. And the first team I played is Cape Verde, and I won the entire tournament. So that's just a fact there. Uruguay versus Spain. Uruguay, you are not having a good game. You are not having a good tournament. Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia, 1-1. 1-1 between the two. So in these predictions, I have Spain topping the group, Cape Verde coming second, Saudi Arabia coming third, Uruguay coming fourth. Now, this is interesting because if that is actually going to happen, not only does that knock out Uruguay, a main force in World Cups, not of current recent events, but still a strong side. Saudi Arabia, well, kind of like an up and coming side. Cape Verde making their first time and going through to the next round. Wouldn't that be lovely to find out? Anyway, Group I.